Hey everybody, and welcome back. It's actually been quite a while since I've been on camera like this. Lately I've been focusing on Let's Plays and such. But tonight I am going to do something that I usually don't do. As I usually do movie and show reviews and Let's Plays. And my channel will be mainly focusing on that still, but tonight I'm going to bring you a rare thing and do a discussion on a few things that I just really felt like I should discuss. Just, just because, But, before I go into that, let me talk a bit, just a quick thing on statuses and such of my usual videos. The first thing was I stopped doing American Horror Story because personally the show has gotten kind of bad for me. Where it used to be each week I was really excited about seeing a new episode. It just lost its appeal. I was like, yeah, it's on tonight, but I really don't care to watch it. Maybe I'll record and watch it later, but even then the recording's starting to get behind, and it's just not a thing for me anymore. Michael J. Fox, I think I already said I stopped doing that one because, while it's a good show, it's not really something you have a lot to discuss with. I am going to be doing Bates Motel Season 2. I'm really excited about that, and I'm awesome to get back in front of this camera instead of just doing Let's Plays, which I will continue to do as well. But I want to get that out of the way, first of all, if anyone's wondering. But what I want to discuss tonight are at least 3 things. And I may venture into more stuff as the discussion goes on. We'll see, but I at least want to get these 3 things. First of all, the death of 2 actors that happened this year that really hit me. The second is going beyond that and discussing how actors and such are immortalized when they're on the TV screen, and how that is both good and bad. And third of all, and this topic right away should give you an idea of who one of the actors I'm going to talk about is why, and you can agree with me on this point if you do. If you want, that's completely cool. We're all entitled to our own opinion, but why there should not ever be a Ghostbusters 3. And if you know me, you know I love Ghostbusters. It's one of my favorite comedies. But we'll get into that when we get to that topic. The 2 actors that I want to discuss are James Avery and, as you probably guessed, Harold Ramis. Both came as quite a shock to me. Technically, James Avery didn't pass away this year, but it was on New Year's Eve, and most people heard the news the following day on New Year's Day, so I'm counting that one as within this year, because that's when the impact really hit. Oh, geez. I woke up that morning, ready to start a brand new year, excited and everything. And so I signed on to Facebook, as I usually do, and one of the first things I see is that James Avery has passed away. And, usually I take this stuff with a grain of salt. A lot of times people are making hoaxes for actors who died, or this person died, that person died. I remember back when Kel Mitchell supposedly died, and that was bullshit, thank God. But the link that I first saw was through CNN.com, so I knew that wasn't bullshit. They're not going to, do a hoax and stuff. If it had been something else, less reliable, I'd have looked it up, but this was just like, boom. And the weird thing had been, I watched the ball drop in the countdown, and right after that, Billy Joel played, so I watched that, so technically, Fresh Prince wasn't the very first thing I watched at the beginning of the new year, within the new year. But right after Billy Joel, they had some stupid new singer or something I didn't give a shit about. And I went through my TV Guide channel, or the TV listings, and I saw that Fresh Prince was on. So I flipped to that, and that was one of the first things, and in a way one of the first thing that I watched at the start of the new year with coming into the new year. And I've always been a Fresh Prince fan. And of course James Avery played Uncle Phil on that show. And he also played Shredder. He did the voice of Shredder for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Not the new one, the old one. And if you grew up with the time that I did, within the time and such, even if you weren't a fan of Ninja Turtles, you knew what it was. It was everywhere. It was extremely popular. Everybody knew what it was. Such an impact on so many young kids' lives. And of course, I didn't know that he was the voice of Shredder till much, much later. But, so that's basically, for me, and for many other people, Uncle Phil and Shredder passing away. That just sucks, because he was an extremely talented voice actor for that. And a very talented actor as well. Even things I saw him in that, like, he just guest starred in, like, he did a 70s show one time. He was in there as a, not exactly the character he was, but I think he also was in Police Academy or something, and the guy that James Avery played was the cop that was in charge or something like that. But even in a small role like that, he was excellent. Uncle Phil is a great character, a great role model, which is really rare in TV today. He always knew what to say. He always stood firm in his beliefs. He was always there to lend a comforting hand while talking how it is. Yes, there was a lot of comic relief that was still really well done. I am not knocking that at all. Oh, one thing I forgot to mention is, I don't want anybody to think that I'm knocking Philip Seymour Hoffman, because that was another big death this year. And I don't want anybody to assume, you're only talking about James Avery and Harold Ramis. Now, I think that Hoffman is a great actor, or was a great actor, sadly, was. But he was never one I really followed. Definitely respect the man. Very talented, like I just said. And if I saw a movie trailer that I thought looked good and he was in it, it was definitely an added bonus, because I knew somebody in there would be acting really great. And it was always a bonus if he was in something, but he was never one of those I really followed, like, oh, the new Philip Seymour Hoffman movie is coming out. I don't really want to see it because he's in it. Again, great actor, but didn't really impact me. It had the same impact or affect me the same way that, I don't know, I'm stumbling over the words here, but now that I'm talking about it, it's all coming back. It didn't really affect me as much as the other two did. So back to James Avery and Uncle Phil. I've seen a lot of quotes when he died that says everyone needs an Uncle Phil. And that's true. We all need that role model in our life. We all need one on TV with the shit that they throw out at us today. Shit that they throw at kids and say, this is what you're supposed to be like. This is what you're supposed to be like. And that's a whole other discussion that I will probably never do, on camera at least. But Uncle Phil was a really delightful character. He was always fun. He always got my mood up if I was feeling down. I loved all the characters on that show for the most part. But Uncle Phil was one of my favorites. And just lose somebody like that sucks. Such an impact. And then even with Shredder, like I said, a big part of my childhood, a big part of many people's childhood. it's just sucks. It really sucks losing somebody like that, because we grew up with them. And one thing I think everybody should check out is, it's on YouTube, it's only a clip, and I'm going to look up, try and find the real thing, was Unscripted with James Avery. And he talks a lot about his life and such, and it's really awesome. Really fucking awesome. So check it out. But, you know, just to wake up that morning and see that was just, boom. So, on to Harold Ramis. Now, as I said, I love Ghostbusters. Hold on. I actually kept searching when I went to Kmart for this. Yes, love it. But that aside, Egon Spengler is now dead. One of the Ghostbusters is now dead. The Ghostbusters. One of the most iconic quartet of all time. You know, everybody knows who the Ghostbusters are. Great movie, great comedy, great characters. Harold Ramis had such a big part in that, aside from just acting in it. He also did Stripes and Groundhog Day, which are both great, hilarious movies, with his good friend Bill Murray. And comedy is another thing that I've seen decline and decline and decline. People aren't that funny anymore. Yes, there are exceptions. There are still funny people out there, and they aren't rare or anything, but at the same time, it just keeps dropping off and dropping off. And we lost a very, very funny man. And not just a funny man, a very talented man. Writer, producer, director. He did so much, and he was so talented in everything he did, and he just kept pushing and pushing and keep going on and going on. And because of that, he brought so much joy to so many people. I mean, back to Ghostbusters. Spengler, well, not my favorite Ghostbuster, and at that, they're all so damn close. It's really hard to pick my favorite. There's so many moments and such, and just the one off the top of my head is when they're busting Slimer, and he did this line so well. It's when they have the trap out, and Ray tells him not to look directly into the trap. And Egon sits there, he has this expression on that I know I can't do, but it's just perfect. I look at the trap, Ray. So hilarious, so subtle, so just new, and not something that's in your face, just right there. Great humor. And it was Monday night, then I came home from work, and I wasn't having a bad day at all. It was a great, not a day to sing and dance about, but at the same time, it wasn't a bad day. And while I'd much prefer a good day to be ruined in a way than a bad day to be made worse, I come home, scrolling down Facebook, I see a picture of Ghostbusters that looks kind of weird, and something about honor his passing or something like that. So I immediately stop. I'm like, oh shit, what's this? And of course, I see Harold Ramis is dead, and again, boom, that just knocked me off my feet, and I just sat there in silence for a few minutes. And the whole night, I did the same with James Avery. It's all I could think about. It was really hard to sleep that night because it was just, he's gone. Something great is gone. This is terrible. And I actually wore my Ghostbuster shirt the next day to honor him, because as soon as I heard that, I got the shirt out ready for the next day. And even the next day at work, I was lost in thought the whole time about it. But sucks that we're losing so many people this year. I mean, even the people that I didn't talk about, like Philip Seymour Hoffman. Really sucks that he's gone. And while it didn't affect me as much, it still really fucking sucks. And 2014 is not off to a good year so far. But back to Ramis, it just... We'd already lost Uncle Phil. And then we lost Egon Spengler. And it was bad enough losing Egon. If we hadn't lost Uncle Phil, and not to downplay that his death was a tragedy or didn't suck, it totally did. I'm just making the point that it would have been as bad losing Egon Spengler. Yes, it sucks. It sucks so much losing Harold Ramis. But it's like pouring salt on an open wound. You know, the open wound was there when James Avery died, and losing Harold Ramis just poured salt on it. And it just... I'm already ready for this year to be over, and I don't want to know who else we're going to lose. But, you know, those two really hit me. The second thing I want to talk about is, as I said, how we see these characters on screen, these actors on screen, and how they are immortalized for us. Whenever we see them on screen, it's almost as if they're alive again. Yes, it's a very grim reminder that they aren't with us anymore. Watching, you know, Ghostbusters, watching Fresh Prince, watching those episodes with James Avery and that 70s show and such like that, it will never be the same again. Because we know that they're gone. But they're still there. At least in spirit and on the screen. And they will always be there. Always. Until the end of time. Maybe down the road they won't be as popular, but they will always, always be there. Even if when they're long gone. And this is both good and bad. Because obviously, you know, it's good because we get to keep seeing them. They still continuously bring joy into our lives. They make us laugh. They make us cry. You know, they keep doing that on and on and on, even after they're gone. And if you just lose somebody, it sucks. They're gone, they're gone. But when they're up on that screen, like I've said a billion times, it's almost as if they're alive again. Just like I just said. And, you know, it's so good. It can be so heartwarming to see it. You know, especially after a while, after you kind of, you know, and get over it, for the lack of better terms, their deaths. I mean, it'd always be there. It'd always be in your heart and stuff. But, you know, it's such a relief to know that they're still there and you can witness them at any time you like, in a way bring them back to life. But on the other hand, it is a grim reminder they're gone. It is a reminder that no new moments will be made. It is a grim reminder that, you know, wow, of that tragic time that you heard when they died. And it's always in your face when you watch them. Now, I think the good outweighs the bad, because I usually feel a lot of good coming through, and I usually feel joyed and such like that. But there's also that tugging in the back. You know, they're gone, guy. You know, they're gone. They'll never be back. These memories you had of them, you know, you can't make any more. And it's that part really sucks. You know, they are immortalized, but it's also immortalized. They're gone. And it can really bring you down at times. I know, you know, sometimes watching Ghostbusters, or even watching, because I went back to my DVDs when James Avery died and started watching Fresh Prince, and it just hit me so many times when watching it, even though the good outweighed. I haven't watched Ghostbusters again since the news. I don't think I'm ready. just not yet. Like I said, I love the movie, but it's not quite ready yet to delve into seeing that again. But, you know, with anything, you gotta take the bad with the good and the good with the bad. So, you know, that's my discussion on that. Take what you will with it. This is how I feel. Now, my third discussion, and probably important, but the least important of all, is Ghostbusters 3. And it should not happen, in my opinion. When we first heard the news about it, I was really iffy about it. There was definitely part of me that said, you know, Ghostbusters 3, you know, I love Ghostbusters. If they did this right, it's going to be so epic. But how often is a third sequel after so much time successful? Ironically, we've had 2 movies like that were successful and did the series justice, in my opinion. Toy Story 3. It had been a while, and that movie was great. It still captured the imagination and feelings of the old movies. And Men in Black 3, while in no way a spectacular movie, it was a good movie. It was quite enjoyable. And, you know, especially as a third movie after so long, it really helped it, because you don't expect those to suck. And it didn't. I thought it was really good. But those are just examples. With Ghostbusters, and as big as a fan as I am, I was really doubting it would be any good. And I'd rather not have it at all than have it and it suck. And the fact that Bill Murray was fighting against it so much, that's just a warning sign, you know. Big red flashing lights. No, 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 don't go there, don't go there. Just drop the project. And I know they're still continuing with it, and I don't give a shit if they're having new Ghostbusters. I think that's a really damn good idea. I'm not knocking the idea, but even if the Ghostbusters are handing down their equipment, their talents, and their jobs to newbies, without Egon Spengler, fuck it. Fuck it. Seriously. You know, you can't have Ghostbusters, even if they're only on screen for a minute, without Egon Spengler. And, well, I'm sure we've all seen that one image. It's great, but really saddening at the same time, where it's drawn and you see the trap open and Egon's going into it, and he's waving, and the other 3 Ghostbusters are waving at him. So heartbreaking, but so awesome at the same time. And, anyway, back to my point. That just, you know, that's the straw that broke the camel's back. No more. I do not want to see Ghostbusters 3. I never want to see it. I see, and as many people do, Ghostbusters 3 as the Xbox and PlayStation 3 video game that came out, which was really excellent in my opinion. Wasn't amazing, it had its flaws, but really solid, really kept the Ghostbusters spirit. It felt like in the third movie, and that should be the third movie. Because again, even in video games, Egon will always be immortalized. But with you know, with such a high chance that it would bomb, it would really suck, and it really put the Ghostbusters name to shame. Plus the fact that Bill Murray was fighting it and fighting it and fighting it. Those are reasons enough for me not to want to see Ghostbusters 3. True, I was on the fence before Harold Ramis passed away, but, you know, I was really leaning towards no. And that has completely knocked me off the fence. I'm completely no now. And I can understand the argument that it would be a tribute. It would honor Harold Ramis. But I just don't see it that way. And I just don't want it to happen. I really don't want it to happen. You know, if I want to see it, I'll go back through and watch the first 2. A lot of people didn't like the second one, and I definitely find it inferior to the first, but I still really like it. It's still a really good movie in my opinion. And And, you know, never, except for very, very few chances and very few times, is a sequel going to be as good or better than the first. Terminator 2 is the one I can think off the top of my head that actually surpassed the original. The original's good, but Terminator 2 is so awesome. But like I said, it's very rare. And Ghostbusters, you know, I think a lot of people hated it for that. You know, it wasn't good as the first. Of course it's not going to be good as the first. But this discussion isn't about that. Anyway, that's the end of my thing. You know I'm not as good as a lot of the other people out there who shoot reviews and talk about stuff like this, but this is a rare thing for me. And I'll probably do discussions from time to time about something I'm really thinking about. But there'll be once in a blue moon. But, you know, I'm going to get back to my other stuff. And until next time, peace out. And rest in peace, guys. You know, rest in peace, guys. Here's to you. You guys were great. You made me laugh. You made me cry. You just really lifted my spirits in so many ways, and it sucks that you two are gone. Really fucking sucks. Here's to you.